On this month's 1916 Excelsior ride, we take a short trip back to when I first bought it. I first heard about this motorcycle in December 2016. In this short clip, I describe what it took from that moment to the time some 53 days later when Mike Lynch and I first fired it up. That story is Mike, on his 1930 Indian Scout, and I on the Excelsior take a short ride to grab lunch at the local Foster's Freeze. The Excelsior came to my attention on the Facebook group's Motorcycle Memories when the brother of the owner posted it as possibly being for sale. I have been riding for 50 years, but had never had something this old, but having recently made friends with antique motorcycle expert Mike Lynch, who promised to help me get it in running condition, I made the decision when it did come up for sale to pay the asking price. Just days before I was to pick up the bike, I had shoulder surgery, but with Mike's help we got her home. As soon as it was out of the truck, we started to piece it back together to see just what parts I needed to find to get her back on the road. Although the bike was 95% complete, as found it was still missing a few hard-to-find parts. But luckily Michael in Sweden had produced reproduction throttle rods, a chain guard, and a transmission cover. A friend of Mike's made up new fork bolts in his shop. Dale Waxler at Wheels Through Time had a front wheel, and tires and tubes were available from Coker. One of my biggest jobs was carefully cleaning it without doing any damage to its crusty, rusty patina, as the bike looked to have never been cleaned from when it was first put into service in 1916. Lots of gunk engine cleaner, and a nuts, bolts, and kerosene cocktail for the gas and oil tanks. But I did get a little help from my smiling granddaughter assistant Shay. Mike rebuilt the carburetor. We cleaned up the hand and engine-driven oil pumps. Axle bolts, brake brackets, and rods were also made in Mike's shop. The bearing races and brake drum were rebuilt and refinished. We set the points and valves, installed spark plugs, filled up the oil tank, added little ethyl to the gas tank, and we were ready to give it a few kicks to see if she would fire up. My daughter got this video of its monumental coming back to life.
Holy crap! Did you have it going?
Yeah.
Being the first time run in 60, maybe 90 years, and running with a light oil, it was smoking like an old coal locomotive. The smoke was so thick when it first fired up that a neighbor came over to see if my garage was on fire. My first ride. Only problem was I had hooked the brake up incorrectly, and so I almost ran into my wife's Buick. I have put close to 900 miles on this bike since. It won a junior first at the 2017 Antique Motorcycle Club of America Dixon meet, and it's almost ready for a new rear tire. Ride 'em, don't hide 'em is my motto. Thanks for coming along for this month's ride.